Welcome back, you hear at Goldberg. Today we'll be talking about something I was thinking about the other day. So I went in really early to work trying to help them out, driving pitch black, and in the darkness it dawned on me, as it many times happens, that modern society, whether it's deliberate or it's just some variable byproduct, is set up to drive the common man, the man with self-respect, completely insane. Yes, there are going to be some exceptions. So if you have a lot of resources or you attain many resources, accrue them at an early stage, you might be able to buy your way out of it. You can get to the Caribbean and have your little island, import some supermodels, be somewhat off the grid of popular society. Or alternatively, you can choose to embrace and assimilate. That would be the progressive males. Or sometimes guys will just completely give up their identity. You might have remembered that John Mayer song where he was going, "Orbiters become incels, incels become femboys. So Stacy's be good to your orbiters too." What he's trying to say is that some men, they're so frustrated and just at a loss that they say it's better to be a femboy, become gay, trans, just to be able to fit in. But the remaining guys, the ones who don't have tons of resources but are not willing to prostrate themselves, it is really a crisis because you look at soy derivative society and it's just a black hole most of the time. That's what I wanted to discuss in this particular video. So some of you were lucky enough to be born into families that were intact, mom and dad. In many cases, dad was there, but he wasn't really there. He was kind of like, I'm just here to watch football and eat chips. Others raised in single mom households, broken families, divorce situations. And you go into a public school system and overwhelmingly your teachers are going to be women. Now, if we genuinely made an attempt to promote equality, that wouldn't matter. But as you know, there's a tendency for people to want to give their gender, just like their, ethnicity's point of view. And for a lot of young dudes, it's like, I don't belong in this system. I'm constantly being told I have a problem. If a woman wrongs you, you can't respond in an equal measure because you're a man, you have to show restraint. We'll get more into that in just a little bit. If you are successful, people will say it's because you're a man or you're oppressing women or potentially you have privilege in society. So a lot of dudes are like, why bother staying in school? Why go to university? In fact, there's a massive outflux of men from university, higher education in general. A lot of it has to do with this very conundrum. You grow up and you have a sense of, well, I want to become a man, but around you there's all these terrible role models because a lot of these guys weren't allowed to be men based upon the very principles of modernistic society. And you look for these outlets. You say, I want to be in the Marines, I want to serve my country. And you end up being basically required to obey the orders of someone like Mark Milley, General Clown World. You go into the STEM, and now the PC, the SJW nonsense is leaking into STEM. Most careers, it's always walking on eggshells. You can't express your opinions. You can't make a joke. You've got to essentially treat everyone like a potential informant. And you say, well, at least you can find your worth, as guys like George Gilder would talk about. The reason why so many men are obsessed with getting laid, the reason why these red pill communities have so much currency is because guys are using getting laid as a way of saying, I'm a man. This is my identity as a man. I can bang a chick. But you can't really do it in the traditional sense. Okay, I'm just going to approach you. This is who I am. I find you attractive, whatever, confidence, as they say. You do that, and there's high risks now. Oh, you're harassing. Oh, you can't do that. You're supposed to essentially turn yourself into a court jester using the internet, using social media, swipe apps, have a great Instagram profile, have an amazing online personality. That's how you're going to be able to really show them that they're missing out if they're not with you. Takes me back to that Sam Hunt song. I don't know if you guys have heard it, but you're always behind me. I bet simping was much easier in the 90s. I mean, to be sure, is dressing yourself up like a peacock and posting pictures on Instagram, would you say that's really what you as a man want to be doing and spending your time on? Oh, I got to be in the gym, not because I really want to be in shape, but because I need selfies to show that I'm living that life. I'm a gym cell. Hey guys, hey girls, available. I mean, it's genuinely bizarre that you have to lower yourself to this level as a man just to have some sense of I'm a man. It's the only way you can really prove yourself because the other outlets or normal behaviors are simply not kosher in modern soy derivative society. So you see how it is a bit of a crisis. I'm not exaggerating this. Once you start getting beyond all the petty politics, the corporate communism of the left or the boomer cucks on the right, and you start to understand there's a much more sinister force at work here. You can't just, oh, it's not a big deal. It is a big deal. Because even the guys who try to claim I'm working in the system, I'm doing fine, they are seeing this and they're just in denial. This brings us to a very important point regarding how we perceive male nature. So Rolly Tomaso might tell you, maintain frame, brah. But what is maintaining frame? Just like saying men are naturally stoic. No, 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 no. You see, stoicism as a philosophy has merits, but when you say men have to be stoic, that's just how they are, that is simply a placeholder, a very corrupt one, mind you. It's a way that society justifies forcing men to deny any sense of feeling, emotion, how they actually want to be, being true to themselves, their entire lifetime. Freud was a degenerate, as we all know, but he had a great quote where he said, just because you try to dismiss or banish or suppress an emotion doesn't mean it goes away. It oftentimes comes back in a harsher, more destructive form. And this is very true. There are young men, old men, they spend their entire existence with no concept of what am I feeling, because they're not allowed to. You think about if you go and start screaming or yelling because you're trying to show emotion, that could be a problem, especially as a man. You can't do that. No, no, no. Just take it inside, be stoic, suck it up, maintain frame. This is what they want you to do. And Robert Bly, the whole fable of Iron John, there's different ways to interpret it. I do it in this manner. The Iron John character who's in the cage, that is our true self. We have to suppress that to be functional in modern society. But some people are curious. They get to the point of opening it up and letting him out. But the consequence of letting him out is that you can no longer truly function in that modern society again. The guys who do that, the guys who have actually opened that cage, are the ones who are usually in orange jumpsuits. Maybe they've gone MGTOW. Maybe they're out in the wilderness living by themselves. But you can't really open that door and then walk back and say, I'm going to have a nice house, car, overweight wife, and 2.5 kids. It's just not going to work. And you do see this in certain modern relationships. So why do some women relish seeing a man get angry? Well, on the one hand, if he's emotional and she's like, oh yeah, he's down on my level, there's no difference, he's not stoic or maintaining frame, I got him to really break down, they might get some contentment out of that. But the true glee is on the other side. She knows that you can get very furious. When you feel so just over the top with rage, clenched fists, but you can only go so far. You can't cross that line, because if you do, like we were saying before, you will never live successfully in society once again. She knows that, right? She knows the structure is on her side. So you're going to lose your reputation, you're going to lose your job, you're going to be locked up. If you have kids, you're not going to be able to see them anymore. So you have to be stuck in that cocoon of rage and anguish and pain because you are not able of walking away from soy derivative society. It's that simple. But people don't want to accept it because, oh no, it's not like that. Truly messed up. And in fact, my dad used to have a friend. He was a big dude, not terribly smart, but he dated this girl who was pretty strong, physically speaking, tall. And she would just get pissed off, drink. She would start just wailing on him. And this guy would sit there having the crap beaten out of him. She'd knock his glasses off, break his nose, whatever. He would not do anything. Why? Because the one time he just put up his arm to block her attack, police show up, he gets arrested. This is a real dynamic, and it's sad. The reason I bring this up is not because, depressed people make them angry or bitter. You have to understand this reality. If you as a man truly want to embrace and be, yourself, those are the guys. Many of them, like I said, in prison, Maybe some of them are off in Tayanaban land. Others have gone off in nature to live by themselves. But in society, you have to be prepared to make these sacrifices. Otherwise, you'll violate the customs, the norms, and there's no going back. So understand it, and as a young man, you can decide what kind of life you want to live.